What is up, guys? We're back with another video. Today I'm going to be having a pretty exciting video. I'm going to go over what baits I like to use for all four of the seasons. Spring, summer, fall, winter. A lot of those baits, so stay tuned. Okay, so what we're going to do, number one, I'm just going to go straight fall. So we're going to do fall first. So what I like to use is any shad looking bait. I like this one specifically. This is a lipless crankbait. It can just be a normal crankbait, any kind of thing. Just shad pattern, really, because the bass in the fall are pushing the shad towards the banks, and they're going to start feeding on more shad and stuff to stock up for the winter. But I like using this bait because specifically it has strong hooks. It's made by a great company, Kevin Van Dam. Great company. You see it really pulls off that shad pattern. They're real great hooks. Good company overall. But yeah, I like using this a lot. If I can't get this thing biting, then I'll use a smaller version. But yeah, so that's number one. Let's see, number two. Most of these are going to be crankbaits, because crankbaits, you can get more of a shad pattern, but other baits you can too. I like using this little Ozark Trail little shad. Yes, it is pretty different from this shad individually, but yeah, I like using this because, in my opinion, it looks more like a shad that I have in my creek and ponds than it does than any shad. I like using this because it's small. A lot of things will eat it, not only just bass will, walleye, muskie, really anything. But yeah, this bait is also, like, the hooks that Walmart are doing for their crankbaits are good. Only some of them are bad. But yeah, these ones are pretty strong. But yeah, has a good paint job to it, nice detailing and finish. So yeah, that's number two. I didn't have much to say about those top two baits, but yeah. Okay, number three, not specifically brand, but another Ozark Trail. I took off the back hook because, I don't know why, actually. I just took it off because I couldn't really, just to do like a little experiment to see how they would eat it or whatever. And they ended up eating it from the front, but I don't know if that's because, like, the hooks were up front or something. I don't know. But yeah, it'd be this crawdad pattern bait. It doesn't have to be specifically Ozark Trail. That's near me, so I just get a lot of baits from them. But yeah. And FYI, it's a Walmart brand bait, but yeah. So really, any crawdad pattern, they work super well. The bass and other predatory fish are feeding on shad, little bluegill, bait fish, minnows, and crawdads. I like using this bait specifically because it works really good for catching those fall smallmouths. It's what I like to use a lot because I get more of a reaction bite than little nibbles. But yeah. Oh, let's see. So number three. Yeah. Number three is any colored jig. This is a 1/2 ounce jig, so this is a big jig. But I like throwing these jigs because as you guys know, the bass, if they're not feeding on shad, if you have a cold front, moving towards the bottom. I like throwing these jigs, because not only can you do a lot with them, but they're slow moving. You can just jig them up and down. You can just drag it on the bottom. You can reel it. You can jerk it. You can do a lot of it. But I like adding a little crawdad trailers or whatever, make it more natural to the fish or whatever. Because, fall, they're going to be feeding on those crawdads and other stuff. But yeah, so I like using those with the crawdad trailer because they're feeding on crawdads and bait fish. It's a good bait to use. You guys can use any colors. They come in 30,000 different colors, it seems like. I like using black and blue or white or red. Black and blue, I don't know why. It has a good color to it in the water and stuff. But red you can use for crawdads and stuff. White for shad pattern and stuff. Those work really good. One thing I'll also recommend is chatterbaits. I don't have any with me, but chatterbaits work really nice. Like a white chatterbait or whatever color. Yeah, so that's number 4. So number 5 to wrap up for the fall. This bait's gonna actually be a soft plastic. If I can get this open here, it's my fault. But yeah, so really, I'm doing a lot of crawdads, or like you can use beavers, crawdads, shad baits. I like using those the most in the fall. But you know, I'm gonna actually add one more bait. So it'll be 6. But yeah, yeah. So I like throwing just a little plain old craw bug or whatever, little creature bait. It can be any creature. It doesn't have to be a crawdad. I mean, it could be a beaver. Or it could just be, whatever creature bait you guys like to use. What's good with these is you can just reel them, and slowly you can just let them sit on the bottom and kind of jig them. You can do a lot of things with these bait. And next, I'm going to round it off with a fluke. Fluke's real. If you Texas rig this, or just however you guys rig this, really good action when you just start jerking it and stuff. Being honest, I like using it more than live bait, live shad and stuff and bluegill, because this gives more action when you jerk it. It looks like a panicked, injured fish. It just, if you jerk it, it'll go one way and then the other, and just go everywhere. Don't ignore whoever texted me. It's my fault. But yeah, and also to go with that, it's still kind of the same thing. Any swim baits, I like using little shad swim baits or whatever. So you guys seen the last video, got little speed shad and just ripped shad. Any really shad swim bait works really good. You get a nice bite off that. So yeah, so that's gonna end up doing it just for the fall. I'm gonna actually transition into winter. In winter, normally I don't fish a whole lot, but if I do, it'd be ice fishing, or just, if there's no ice, I'll still fish with other baits, but if there's ice, kind of mix it up a little bit. So what I like to do for winter is, the bass are starting to go real slow. They're really slow, and they're not going to be hitting much live action bait. So what I like to do is throw these little marabou jigs. As you can see, these little marabou jigs, you can choose any color. Normally I like to go with the white, or like an all white jig, or just a white and a redhead jig. But sorry about the background texting crap. That's my fault. Let me just silence that real quick. That is my fault. I am so sorry. Hold on, give me a second. But I'm gonna keep talking. I like using these jigs because the bass are starting to be really slow. These things, there's so much you can do with them. You can either just let them hit the bottom and start propping them up and down, how I like to do it, or you can just kind of do a nice easy cast and steady retrieve in. But yeah, these things work really well because they're kind of resembling little bait fish, just kind of, just looking and exploring around. But yeah, bait, normally this is what you're really going to want to use in part of the fall, like towards the end of fall, early winter. These things work really good. This is what I like to use, because in my state, or wherever you guys live, they work really good where I live. So yeah, so it's going to be bait number 1 for winter. Let's see. And it really depends where you guys like, what kind of fish you all have. This ain't all what I use in like my creek and ponds. If I go somewhere, I'll still use big baits like that or whatever. But next, this is a foreign bait. This is made in France. A little rooster tail with like chicken feathers or whatever on the back. I like using these because really these things are pretty, I'm going to be honest, they're plain, but I like using it. Spinners, kind of, you got that late fall, early winter, every now and then, if you can get out real early, they'll be reacting to spinners, but just small, gives vibrant colors and stuff. I do not know how much this bait is. I'm going to take, just because it's made in France, so it's somewhat expensive, but yeah. And what I like about this is I love how they designed it. Here, you guys can get a close-up here. It has a little bit of like a gold red action. Kind of looks like a bleeding fish and stuff, because out of the back, as you can see, I don't know if you guys can see that, but it has a red feather streak coming out. Kind of gives off blood and stuff, and then the way it spins in the water and stuff like that. But yeah, that's going to be number 2. All these are pretty small baits, but yeah. And these aren't all going to be for bass. Those 2 baits you can use for anything. The crankbaits, like I said, you can use for anything. Flukes and swim baits, you can really use these for all, but I like using them for bass. Okay, what I'm going to do is for number 3, let me get this other tackle box. There's another bait that I meant to go over. If any of you guys crappie fish, I might do some crappie fishing videos. I'm missing a lot of crappie season, but literally any crappie bait, like these right here, little Strike King skirts, little mini tube skirts. I like using these on a jig. Normally that's what I would use, is on a jig. But really any little tube. My personal opinions for coloration is, I don't know if, like, whatever you guys use, if it works, it works. But for my opinion, I'm probably going to say your top 2 colors is probably just a normal plain old red, and then a red with a black tip. So yeah, that will be number 3. You can use whatever colors you want. I mean, I get most off red or whatever. And crappie live against structures. Like, let's see, like if you guys have if you under a bridge or whatever, like near walls, underwater, like logs, branches, cover up, rocks, really anywhere. They'll be anywhere along structure. And just throwing these little things in will catch a lot of them. Now, there comes downsides with these. If you're using them in the spring and summer, crappie will be biting, and crappie kind of bite all year. But you will catch a lot of panfish, so it's kind of, because you kind of can't just magically want a crappie to come up. Like, you're going to catch so much stuff with this, because it's so small, anything will come get it. But yeah. If you're also looking for live bait, like little bluegill and shad, I also would recommend these, or the marabou jig, because normally I catch a lot on those. But the marabou jig, you're going to be catching kind of bigger bluegill and stuff. But yeah, you can really catch any size with the tubes. But yeah, so that's number 3. What's next? The baits I'm gonna, guys, you might not agree, but where I live, they work perfectly for me. I'm gonna say for bass, any trick worm. I don't use these a whole lot in the winter, but if they're moving slow, I like to just drag it. But yeah, so let's see. Normally I like to use these in early spring, kind of get that little action going. But yeah, really catch a lot with these. I catch more largemouths than I do smallies, but yeah. So that's number 4. So let's see, to round this one off. Wow, I've covered a lot of baits. Early winter, what would I be using? There was a good bait. Okay, you really use, hold on, let me find the head. So I need to recycle this bait because I don't have any more there. I have them put up. Okay, any tube bait. These things literally are one of the most simple baits you can use. Bass will eat them, like super large crappie will, but I'm not for sure. From experience, yes. A lot of bass will eat these. A lot of people, when they're bass fishing, they don't really recognize how good the tubes are, the big tubes. But honestly, these things literally work extremely well for bass. And you can, like I said, you can just throw these things along structure. You can just, it's really so plain, but it catches so many fish. Throw it along wherever you want. You can steady retrieve. You can jerk it, or you can jig it, or whatever you guys want to do. It's how you fish. Okay, so that's going to round that off. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, that'll round that off. Let me put all them baits back. A lot of them baits were right in front of me. Okay, now 2 seasons down, 2 left to go. Springtime. I'm going to go back to these 2 baits and this bait. Springtime, any crawdad bait. This is the only crawdad looking bait I have. Excellent bait. These things work extremely well. The crawdads are starting to get into breeding and spawning. Love to use these because the bass are all over them. Also, any shad baits, like I said, will work really good because the shad are starting to spawn during the spring and early summer, and the bass just go haywire for these. But yeah, so that's them 2. Also, this is more when I like to throw normal jigs, like normal color, like whatever color jigs around. Just more jig and stuff like that. You guys can throw whatever you feel like. These are just little tips. Comment down below if you can. If you guys disagree, then disagree. I'm not going to change. Really, any worm. I like using these little curly tail worms. Really, any curly tail or ribbon tail worm works just fine for bass. Yeah. Future videos, probably here in 2 days or so or something. I'll upload on how I like to rig my worms, different worms and stuff. But, let's see. I like using Senkos. These things work really good. And if you guys want to check these out, you can really, I'll show you how you can rig these. So what I like to do is I don't know if you guys can see. Okay, so it's smooth right here. And then there's a line where it cuts off. I like putting the hook right in there because it balances it out on a wacky rig. You guys can Texas rig these things and jerk them. They work really well if you do that. Or you can just wacky rig them. Or really however you guys want. But, yeah. So that's that. I'm going to go on to, let's see. Oh, I missed the most important thing. These 2 baits. You guys are probably wondering, when are you going to do any top water? Don't you throw top water? Yes. Oops. Pick that up. Any frogs. Any frog or toad looking baits. It can be like little floating baits, popping frogs, just little swimming toads. Really anything. I like throwing the Lunker Hunt ones because there has great action. It's a good paint job. And when you end up doing it, give it a little jerk and sit. Their legs will move like a real frog. They make bigger ones. I like to use these smaller ones. These things, probably what I use the most in the spring because these things absolutely just get murdered, like straight up. I couldn't tell you, as many frogs as I've ever seen in my ponds, the population is getting cut down so much because these bass are just coming up straight up and yeah. You hear that? Yeah, they're just choking them. Also, I like to use these hooks, the Eagle Claw Plain Shank. I'll demonstrate a wacky rig real quick. They do have wacky rig hooks. I like to use these though, because they work pretty well. I'll use the color red because I just feel like it. You know, there ain't no specific reason why I use red. I like to. It's a good color. But, yeah, so these are normal shank but curved, so when they bite down, should go in the left corner of their mouth. If not, then, you know, they must have bit it some way. So what I like to do is there's a smooth part right here in these little Senkos, and I like just taking the hook, and right after the smooth edge to the left, I just like hooking it right in there. And as you can see, this actually does balance out the worm or whatever and gives it that nice, even, wacky rig. But yeah, so that's number 3. Number 4, any buzz bait or spinner bait. I like using big trailers for bigger fish. I don't know if that's really true, but in my book it is. I catch more big fish on bigger baits. But yeah. This buzz bait was like $1, but these things work so well. Yeah. So that's number 4. Number 5, I'm going to be straight up honest. I don't have it anymore because, you know, went to this pond in the Thing took my last one. But that's going to be a popper. Them things work extremely well. They're, like I said, they're amazing. They just give out, like, you just, kind of like a popping frog, basically. I don't, where is mine, actually? I don't know, somewhere out in my garage, but yeah, I like using those because they give, once you jerk them, they give a nice splash and then let them sit. It's kind of like a bait fish, kind of like when it's starting to die, start swimming around and start splashing and stuff. But yeah, that'll be number 5. That is spring. One more season, and I've covered a lot of these baits. I'll be in a lot of more. Number 4, what was that? Oh, now in summer. Summer, I like throwing these little spooks or little torpedoes baits. This has a little spinner on the back, so it's a topwater bait. Spinner just spins, and yeah, it's kind of a plain bait, but these things just full on hammer it. I think the last, yeah, I like throwing those little Berkley tiger shad, little flicker shad. These things work really well. I like using deep diving crankbaits or whatever. But yeah, so these things work really well. It represents a little bait fish. They're really deep diving. These things dive like, I don't even know, like 6 to 8 or I don't know, clue. But I know they're real deep diving, like 6 foot to like something foot. That didn't really help. But I recommend is Berkley. Their hooks, some of the hooks they put on are good, some of them are not. As you can see, this hook right here, I don't know if you guys can really see that, but it is, ow, it is really bent, so I recommend if you guys have extra treble hooks to just remove the one on and replace it. Honestly, I have, like Berkley, I don't have a lot of their crankbaits. Normally, if I'm choosing crankbaits, I like doing Kevin Van Dam, Rapala, or Ozark Trail. But normally Rapala and KVD because they make strong, good quality baits. Yeah, they do get expensive at times, but I mean, it's worth it. Like, the paint never chips off. The hooks are very strong. Normally never breaks the hooks. I've never had out of all these crankbaits, I don't think any KVD or Ozark, or a little bit of Ozark Trail, but none of my KVDs or Rapala crankbaits have ever, the hooks have never broke off. But as you see, Berkley kind of didn't do a spectacular paint job. As you see, I had a bass hit this and really just chips the paint. Yeah, but so I think I will do another video because this is just at my house. But once I go to my other house, I got way more bait, so I'll probably do a video there because I have tons of more crankbaits. I have tons of more bait. But yeah, so this is what I have. So what was that? Let's see. Oh my lord, how many was that? 1, 2, 2, right? I don't even know. If not, it's okay. Number 3, I'm going to go back to the frogs. These frogs, I'm telling you, are excellent for spring and summer. The frogs are spawning, and the bass are just looking for a great meal. That'll be number 3. 2 more, and then we're done. I will have something coming in for Christmas, a big bait reveal. I'll show you all my new equipment. I like doing this little lipless crankbait right here. A nice little shad, green shad pattern, green tiger shad or whatever. Like I said, I don't know what brand this is. It just came in a little fishing kit. Yes, if you don't know the brand, I will. I'd like you guys to replace the hooks because I'm telling you right now, these hooks that they put on, like, I'm telling you, are like plastic. Well, they ain't really plastic, but they're real cheap metal and stuff. And they're real. Well, look, I'm bending this with my fingers. Real cheap, but the bait quality is good. This paint chipped off. Probably add a new paint layer. Just go over that. But yeah, so that's number 4. Rounding it off with number 5. Honestly, I have some more of these coming in. Any jointed swim bait, hard swim bait. I like using these because it really represents like a live moving fish. And this one right here is only a 2-piece or whatever, but yeah. the hook's rusted on this one, and the paint is starting to get real old and dull. So what I think I might do in future videos is replace the split rings and hooks and put brand new fresh ones on and redo the paint job. Well, not redo it, but like touch it up and stuff. But yeah, I like using this because it represents a great target, a great live target stuff, and yeah, a lot of reaction. So really in spring and summer, you want to use more reaction baits. Like fall and winter, you want to do slow stuff, just like dragging jigs or throwing little swim baits or throwing just like crawl bugs or, yeah, that's it. But that's it for this video. Thumbs up. And yeah, thumbs up, subscribe if you like this video. Good. But yeah, if you're new to the channel, subscribe, like, comment, turn your post notifications. Let me check if comments are even on. I can't even remember. But yeah, so that's it for this video. I'll see you next time. Next, let's see. I don't know. What should I do next? Maybe I might do a make your own lure challenge, or like what kind of brand line I like to use, or yeah. But I will be out of school this week for Christmas break, so I'll probably do something really big. I'll have a lot of Christmas, so I don't know how much I'll be uploading. But after Christmas rolls by, I'll probably do a lot of uploading. But yeah, so like I'm supposed to be having a lot of fishing stuff, possibly. I've already picked out some stuff. And if you guys haven't caught on yet, I will not reveal it yet, but I will drop one more clue to that poll I was telling you. The clues I gave you were, it is, you wear this color to blend in. The rod was $100. I think that was a clue. I can't remember. And then the third clue is, it is a bait caster. So those are two big hints. The third one, well, the second one didn't really matter, but yeah. But if you guys, I kind of really gave out big hints, but if you guys still can't figure it out, I will reveal it and I'll show it to you. Oh, I know what the second clue was. It wasn't it was $100, but yeah, that wasn't really the clue. The clue is it's a lose. A lose, bait caster, and you wear the color to blend in. So you guys should be able to get it because those are 3 massive clues. But yeah. So if you guys are new to fishing, really all these baits recommend getting. Some of them are expensive. Some of them are really actually fairly cheap. I think the most expensive bait I have in here is probably either the U-Boat D1, that little shad bait I showed you. This one, I can't how much this one retailed for, or the KVD crankbait. So those are 2 top expensive, and then for soft plastic, it'll be these Googan cinnamon Senkos. These things they come in like a pack of 6 to 8. I can't remember. I'm pretty sure it was 6. And I'm pretty sure I got these for like $8. So yeah, they were pretty expensive. But yeah. So I will during Christmas time. I might upload on the 21st. Actually, it might be a nightly upload because I have some Christmas then from my grandparents. But I know I will review some big stuff or whatever because I got some new lures that I know you guys will love. New pole, new gear. So yeah. But I can't wait till spring and summer because that's when we'll do like a non-stop upload and stuff, and non-stop fishing will be. I'll do probably like searching for giants, like 2 kind of sections, maybe some tutorials. But yeah, that's it for this one, guys. Goodbye. Oof.